Howdy, all. Welcome to session 64 of the Sphere of Power. It's all fun and games until someone loses and. Will someone lose something? We'll see. With 4 of the 5 star gems in their possession, the chosen ones now find themselves in yet another set of ruins beneath the sands of the Desert of Desolation. Indeed, this windless part of the desert has been the most brutal. Travel during the day has been all but impossible, and the camels have put their stubbornness on full display in their efforts to avoid entering this area and absolutely refusing to move while the sun is high. No life seems to exist here, at least none that comes out during the day. So the sunken ruins offered an ironically welcome refuge from the searing heat. Believing this to be the lost city of Phoenix, also once known as Carthage, it appears this once was a resort of amusement for the rich and powerful. Though it must have once been a place of luxury and opulence, it has also become apparent that this was likely a playground for the most eccentric elite of their civilization, imbued with just enough magic to keep one on their toes. After being separated by the sinking sands and regrouping, the first building they were able to enter was donned with the inscription, "My fun is your fun," above the main doorway. The second doorway, which proved a tight fit for the Goliath brothers, seemed insistent on blasting each one who passed through with a chocolate cream pie to their face. And though somewhat startling, the frozen confection was a most welcome treat in the depths of the searing desert. The third doorway led to a dining hall that was suddenly alighted and a banquet of food set upon the table as they entered the chamber. As each party member passed through the doorway, a new table setting would appear along the pillow-lined knee-high table, while the carpets themselves would forcibly remove any footwear being worn at the time. Their host, an ethereal form of a man named Caliph Mubrek, was very gregarious and hospitable. The food, after denying a bit of skepticism, was hard to resist and proved to be incredibly satisfying. The cuisine, the likes of which would usually be reserved for kings, had not been enjoyed for a long time, and for most of them were new delicacies in which they had never before delighted. Afterwards, the host graciously departed, leaving the party each with a ring of some value and raising his goblet in the final toast, long life. However, as they proceeded to move on, they found the remains of a desiccated body in the doorway that was being watched by a set of skeletons. The party made quick work of these defenders, but have now left them wondering what next to expect from these possibly not so frivolous encounters that lie ahead. The choice now left to them to investigate the other rooms within this building that lie to the north, or follow the outstretched hand of the decaying body that leads to what was once the streets of Phoenix. All right, folks, the stage is set. Any questions or just hop right into whatever you want to do?
Right. I do not have any question, but I do want to do what all cats do, and that is go be nosy and have a look around.
Yeah, what's in that room to the north of us? Is there anything there?
Well, there is a room up that direction, which, hold on a second. I just want to remind everyone that this guy down here, Billy Joe Jim Bob, is just for sharing the map. He doesn't actually really exist. So he's just kind of consider him a watcher.
He's a figment of the player's imaginations.
More of the DM's insanity.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, let's see. We'll come down here and take a larger look. So yeah, Mizram has headed up here. And so you can see part of this room up here. And I guess a description would be appropriate. So along the left wall of this large, lofty kitchen are 3 large ovens and a cooking service with an iron grate across a hearth. The opposite wall is lined with cupboards, and the right wall has 3 water taps. On the opposite wall is a doorway over which the runes that reform themselves to state, "Go out this door."
Mm.
So the kitchen might be a little bit more interesting had it not been for the fact that you just enjoyed a very indulgent meal.
So the skeleton is pointing out out what looks like an exit, or we can go through the kitchen. Okay.
Personally, I'm still waiting for my map to load. Sorry.
Okay.
At least you're getting in.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
a step in
downloading
the right
the,
direction.
yeah, I'm downloading the update right now. I'd have been in already if it wasn't for the updates. Slowly but surely.
Well, you can always check Zoom to see the shared screen, see where we're at. But basically, Mizram is in the kitchen area, standing by the doorway that says "Go out this door." Kaeli and Redreth are standing right by the doorway to that room, but Kaeli is also adjacent to the exit leading out, which the skeleton is pointing out. I should also remind you, his left hand is pointing out, his right hand is clutching what's left of his throat. But that is definitely the more open area.
Well,
My party sheet. There's my party sheet.
Elohir will take a quick peek in the kitchen and finding the
Oh, before I forget,
rooms.
Kaeli, here is your timestamp.
Ah, yes, thank you.
I think I want to investigate the direction he's pointing and see if I can see anything along, the sight line or. It's just a skeleton, so there's not going to be any. I won't be able to find anything lodged. I won't be able to find anything, signs of poison likely. Yeah, I'm just going to see if I can investigate the sight line of where he's pointing, I guess.
Gotcha. And Dan?
Being the doorway labeled "Go out this door," Elohir is rather skeptical, judging from the welcome into this building. He's not entirely certain she wants to go through there. She
Interesting that
figures
you,
it's probably. She figures
Kaeli,
it's probably.
hold on a second. Interesting that you
Sorry.
should, no, that's okay. It's interesting that you should state that because I was just about to point out that Haig has that exact same feeling. There's a sense of foreboding coming from not the kitchen itself, but beyond.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Haig is the only one that, well, apparently Kaeli also feels it, or at least her player does, but we will pass that on to her character. And so the two of you are feeling very, what's the right adjective? All right, not very, but feeling queasy about the area beyond.
Yeah, there's something weird going on there.
Maybe something poisonous in the air.
At the very least, it's something surprising and not entirely pleasant, but. All right, so what's the skeleton pointing out?
Well, I mean, if you look in that direction, you can't really see anything specific that he's pointing at, other than there is a building across the street, kind of down the way to the left. But beyond that, it doesn't seem like he's really pointing at anything.
Interesting. So the skeleton is clutching its throat and pointing through the doorway. Let's try. What can I learn from the skeleton about what it was and how it might have died?
All right. Well, as I did point out last session, it is desiccated from the heat. It's very, very brittle. And unfortunately, because of the state of decay, when you attempt to, take a look at it or gently probe the body, what's left of the body kind of collapses away into dust. There really is not that much substance left to it. However, what you
Okay.
do notice, and that you find somewhat curious, is that no matter how old it is, at least in terms of the knowledge of timelines in Forgotten Realms, it seems strange, but you would think that there would still be some reasonable remains of bones that would still have some solidity to them. So even when you've seen bodies like this decay before, when you touch them, there's usually still a skeleton underneath that hasn't fully decayed and still keeps its form, even though the rest of the skin and everything else disappears. But this body, as it falls away, there's nothing. So either there were no bones, or it's so old the bones have also decayed into dust.
Okay, that is weird.
Or there's something magic involved that is magically doing that.
And
Always a
that's a
possibility.
theory. Yep.
I'm just saying
I
the
have
wizard
no
always
idea.
has theories. They're not necessarily good theories, but he always has theories.
That's wizards for you.
Mhm.
Always thinking, always overthinking.
Proudly. Intelligence, not necessarily wisdom.
There is a distinction indeed. All right, so I think we are down to 3 options. Enlighten me if you see another, but it's basically investigate the kitchen, proceed north, or proceed east.
I think definitely investigate the kitchen. Let's not move on until we've cleaned out the
Yep.
building, right?
I agree. That's where I was at once I got to my mute button.
Yeah. We can invest. I will assist in investigating the kitchen and seeing what we can learn, but I am not going through that door and no idea who's calling. There we go. Yeah. Let's investigate the kitchen. Poke around in there. See what's up.
Well, all right. So right now you're standing next to the third of the 3 water taps. Each one has a basin underneath them that appear to be there to collect water or whatever flows out of those taps. The ovens and the cooking surface and hearth that you see to your left obviously are not active. No remains really, thankfully. Otherwise, well, nah, depending on how long it's been there, this thing could probably be long gone. Certainly no fresh remains. And then once again, up by Mizram, there's a set of cabinets all, there's, the one cabinet on the left wall, and then the right corner is filled with waist-high cabinets.
Okay. Let's.
I'd say the one on the left wall is more of a larder or a pantry type unit, whereas the ones on the right appear to be more cooking supplies.
Ellie is more interested in going through and seeing what kinds of foodstuffs appear to be stored here, rather than poking at the taps.
Just question, Keith. What are those 2 body-like symbols I see at the end of the hallway? And is that a door my character's seeing?
So you're taking a look in there, are you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not ominous or anything.
This long, narrow hall is designed to lead to the sleeping quarters of the house. In the center of the hall is an obelisk of black stone, upon which is inscribed a raised hand, palm facing toward the kitchen door. The obelisk blocks the view of the opposite wall, though several bodies can be seen beyond the obelisk.
I will stick my head towards the door and just give a meowing sound. Meow. To hopefully get people attention.
What is it, boy?
I just keep looking at you, then looking down the corridor, looking at you, looking down the corridor, and then
If the
like
cat starts panting and wagging its tail,
Yes, I did laugh. Sorry. That's the downside. Like, you don't get the reactions when people have to switch on and off mute.
yeah, this is true. This is true. So the feedback is appreciated.
All right, I'll guess I'll go down towards Miz and see what he's looking at. So so now we have a sign, a skeleton clutching its throat and pointing down the hallway.
No, it's
and a
pointing
sign that
outside.
has
It's pointing
pointing-
outside.
It's pointing outside.
Correct.
Ah,
So yeah, if you look at the shared screen on Zoom, you'll see me hovering over the skeleton that's pointing to the right or to the east.
I'm logged in now. I just have to open up the map. Hold on.
Okay, well, I guess I could draw on there, but also the Zoom screen does help me just point out things with the mouse arrow. So where the brothers are and you are, to the east right there is a skeleton, as you said, with its left hand pointing out to the east and its right hand clutching its throat. And apparently there is another building across the street from where he is pointing. Up by where Kaylee and Mizram are inside the kitchen, they are standing by another doorway, above which says, go out this door. I think that's how it's phrased. Yeah, go out this door. But Kaylee has a unusual feeling about it. And actually with that in mind, Dan, you probably should have Hake up there also because he was getting the weird feeling from there. Not so much from the skeleton on the floor.
Okay, so Miz is looking down the hallway at some dead bodies at the door. The one by Varric is the one clutching its throat and pointing the other direction.
Correct.
Gotcha. Interesting.
And just a reminder, whoever built this place or places obviously has a not so jovial sense of humor.
Okay.
The question remains of just how twisted this sense of humor is and whether or not it will continue to progress.
I don't know. What do you guys want to do?
I say,
every night.
Exactly. Pinky. Yes. Yeah, the wizard will look at that from afar. Let me move up. How close? Let's see. You guys don't look to be super close to the obelisk. And there's more dead people looking around.
Up beyond the obelisk, yeah, it seems like there's some bodies on the floor, but as I said, the obelisk seems to mostly obscure the view. So basically what you see on the screen is about all you have. You think it looks like something? It might be, it might not be.
I see no way this could go wrong. the wizard asks if any of the scouty sneaky types want to go investigate. Because he's sure he's not going.
Word. My ominous feeling is keeping me from investigation.
If nobody else makes a move to go forward, the wizard will step into the room. And let's see, it's what? Are the squares on the floor 5 feet or 10 feet?
They're 4 feet.
4 feet, okay.
This is a 4-foot map.
Okay. Well, Redreth will,
That's why you've got the 8-foot marker there, because it is 2 squares, but
he'll go about that far
okay.
and listen and watch carefully.
As you enter the room and step forward, by the way, what are you using for your light source, Redreth, or are you just relying on your dark vision? Jim? You went on mute.
I'm talking and I'm all muted.
Eh.
Is it pitch black or is there's no ambient light at all?
Not from this area, no. The outside area does seem to be providing light where the skeleton is pointing to the east, but this room seems to be mostly darkened beyond what ambient light is sifting in from the kitchen.
Okay. Then I will light up the orbs.
Bing, 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 bing.
Yeah. So that's what? 4 of them that I'll just send, and I'll basically, light up the room, move them in such a way that they'll actually light up the room. I'll put 2 back on the far side of the pillar. My laptop, it's hard to draw arrows, but
You need more controllers, man.
I do, I really do. So two on the far side, and then 2 on this side, just to light up the room nicely, just so I can
Gotcha.
see what's going on.
Okay. And by far side, do you mean just beyond the obelisk or?
Past the obelisk, basically putting them over top the whatever's on the floor back there.
Gotcha. All right, so you have some lighting. I'm going to refrain from putting them on the map unless they come into play. But you are able to enter the room without incident, event, or other observance.
I think I need to I might want to fire up detect magic and see what I can.
And I will follow behind him cautiously.
Also, does the other Goliath, does he do detect magic easier than I do?
That's a good question. Let me take a look quick.
I'm just wondering if I can save a spell slot or not. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's reasonable. So let me take a look. Really should know all of you guys better than I do, but at the same time, it's hard to remember the abilities for everyone in the party, especially with the new rule set. Which, sorry, 5e is still a new rule set for me.
The DM has lots to think about. If you
There
want,
hold on.
I can. You want to give me visibility on character
No,
sheets
it's still a
for
level
people
1
who aren't
spell.
here.
I can do that if you're willing to. I didn't want to impose upon you again, but
Okay, I will do.
but yeah, it's
I
still
could-
level
I
1
could
spell. He
use
doesn't get
the-
it innately or anything else like that. So
there, I do detect magic and look around the room to see what I can find.
Hang on, Redra. You cannot
Okay.
have both dancing lights and detect magic up at the same time. You have to choose.
Oh.
They are
But
both concentration spells.
I don't see detect magic's a cantrip or dancing lights is a cantrip. I don't see it. Hang on, let me look.
They are both concentration.
Yeah, level
I
doesn't
see.
matter if they require concentration.
Oh, okay. I see.
Well, it sounds
Yeah,
like you
that's
still
fine.
have
I
an
can
option.
recast them. I want to see if there's magic. That's fine.
Well,
I'll
yeah,
let
but
the-
Okay.
Varric can cast it also with the same expenses.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. So then I'll let him do that.
Okay. He will be casting it. I just have to locate it. Detect magic.
And I'm going to make a ruling here. And for the sake of not creating any major controversy, I'm going to say that it's limited to the scope of this campaign. I may or may not continue it depending on whether or not or what campaign we play later. But for the scope of this campaign, if someone casts a detect magic spell, what is revealed by that spell is visible to everyone who can cast that spell.
Ooh, very interesting.
So that means even though Varric is casting it, anything that shows up will also be visible to Redreth. And I don't know, is anyone else able to cast detect magic? I guess Feckish would probably also.
I
Oh,
don't know
Miz.
if
Miz, do you have a detect magic ability?
No, I as the regular magic cat, I do not. I
Well,
do
except for the
many- I
cat's
do-
connection to the shadow plane, but we'll not go there right now.
Yeah, I
detect
do many
magic.
things.
Detect magic is on both the cleric and the druid spell lists.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they have it in their.
They've taken it,
in their
right? That's what
report.
I was going to ask. But you got
Yeah. But since both of those are prepared casters rather than spells known,
Well, with the ruling in mind, it might be worthwhile for both of them to learn it, just so that they have the ability to see when others are casting it. So just a thought. Yeah, see,
Now,
minor change
by
like that, and
learn-
it already has gameplay implications.
Yeah. By learn it, do you mean have it prepared?
No, don't have to have it prepared. You just have to be able to cast it.
They both can.
So it's in their
Clerics and druids-
it's in their spell list.
It is in their spell list, and they do not have to learn
Correction,
their
it's in
spells.
their
They just-
known spell list, because there's still a limit on prayers for clerics, right?
Nope.
They can learn anything. They can cast anything from their schools.
For druids and clerics, if it's on the spell list in the rule book, then they can cast it. They just have to make sure to prepare it first.
Gotcha. All right, then Druid, then Feckish, Redreth, and Miz can all see any results that would be revealed by Varric's casting of detect magic. So with that being said, Varric, is Varric going to step into the room to cast it, or is he going to cast it from outside the portal, given that Redreth is already standing on the inside?
I mean, unless the group says otherwise, he's probably gonna do it from like inside the doorway.
Well, he's usually not the most cautious of the group, or the most, he usually likes to be in front too, so.
Well,
Unless
in that case,
anyone
then-
objects, I think he would probably be in the forefront, get out of the way, or let me have a better view, even though he can see over Redreth.
yes.
No, I agree with that.
Look out, small man. All right,
Yeah.
so Varric casts it. There's a little obscurity for the rest of you in the back of the room, or behind the doorway, but Redreth and Varric clearly see, as he casts the spell, the aura of magic coming from beyond the obelisk. And this is kind of strange. So you're not seeing anything glow directly, but there is a strong glow of abjuration magic that seems to be coming from the far side of the obelisk. So it's not directly visible, But there apparently is something just on the other side of the obelisk or embedded in the back face of the obelisk that is emitting a strong abjuration field. And it actually looks kind of cool because it's basically this cool purple backlight effect coming off of the dark obelisk. And to some extent, the light close coming out from the closest of it, so it's forming this weird halo because the light that's coming out closest to it is kind of like looks like it's being sucked back into the obelisk. So as opposed to it being a bright halo that grows faint, it actually gets brighter the further away it gets from the center of the obelisk. So it's like an inverted gradient of light. I'm sorry, folks. I
So
do
he's-
need to run to the little boy's room again. So I will let you guys ponder the situation and I will be back in about 5 minutes unless we want to take our break right now.
What time is it, noon? No. Okay,
Yeah,
anyway.
whatever.
Good.
I don't see
Well,
anything out of the magic, so.
Yeah, do what you want over the next 5 minutes. I will try to make it back quickly.
Sorry, guys, I
Yeah,
can't make
so-
it to my mute button right now. I'll be done with this.
Okay, we'll manage. I'm thinking somebody's gonna want to go investigate that. Whether it's gonna be Varric charging in or Red Dress with a little bit more caution. Lily's not going in that room yet.
I mean, you could always let the cat go paw at everything. I mean, what the worst that could happen? Meow.
Well, you probably have the quickest speed out of there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something starts to cloud the room or whatever. It's your call, miss. Oh,
I mean, the cat does have 9 lives, so yeah.
very true. Very true. I only have the measly one.
So, what would you guys and girls love me to look at when I go into that room when Keith get back?
I'm more worried about something triggering than what you see.
Yeah.
I think there's a trap. I think there could be a trap both ways. So I think we're kind of stuck and trying to find out what trap we're going to trigger and how we're going to get out if necessary.
I could just practice my sprinting technique, just sprint to the one end and sprint right back, see if anything happens.
Yeah, that's very true.
You could always
Very
try
true.
some rope around me so you could drag my corpse back out afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but how would that work when you shapeshift?
It should, if you tied it around my body, it should technically still be around my body.
Yeah, but how tight's it gonna be?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's shaped. Well, anything that touches him morphs with him, right? Clothing and all of that. I guess.
Mm,
I wonder if it works on the reverse
he's
of something
going-
that wasn't
if
originally
he's going,
his.
yeah, because if he's, I know things will blend into his shape if he's going from his humanoid to animal, but
It's a very good question.
how would it work? Oh,
Dave,
but if
we
it's a
need-
magic rope, it might shift with him just because it's a magic item.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Magic
actually.
items tend to have inherent shape-shifting properties to begin with.
So, and yeah, if you have the rope with the one magical end, does it actually tie around its object, or does it have a magical connection? Because if you just connect to his foot and it's not a knot, It's still gonna stay adhered
it ties
to his-
around it. It
Gotcha.
ties around it.
Here's
But honestly, that's probably the safest thing, to use the magic rope,
Yeah.
because it's most likely to shift with him.
Here's a question for you, Alec. If I had a pair of magic boots and I put them on in my human form, and if I shapeshift, would I still be able to fly in magic boots, even though I'm now on all fours?
Probably not.
Damn it!
Yeah. Slip knots. Slip knots. Use a slip knot to tie it around his waist.
Very good.
Because I just remembered this because I'm working with string, and you can tie a knot such that such that you can resize the loop without untying the knot. So then we wouldn't necessarily need a magic rope. We could do that.
Genius.
It's I was just thinking about the anchor loop that I use for my crochet to start a project, and that's a resizable loop.
And I was thinking about singing metal while we tied stuff around Miss. But not. I felt the head rise up and Maddie would get it. Sorry, we're metalheads.
It's okay, you're allowed. So
yeah, let's do it.
if we use that kind of knot, then the loop itself is resizable and should adjust with him when he gets knocked out of his wild shape.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's
I think
gorgeous
this
out,
is a
Jim.
good
Tell me
plan.
you're in your garage.
I'm actually right now. I'm helping my wife use the box blade on the driveway, so I can barely hear you.
I walked away from my phone. Hold on. I actually walked away from my phone and didn't realize it. What did you say?
I forget.
Yep, me too. Got a memory like a fish. I mean, my new name with my friend at the moment is Dora from Finding Nemo.
Sorry about that all. Was
No, that's all right.
I was intercepted by one of Mizram's brethren.
I take it they saw you up about and went, "Feed me, master, feed me now."
No, he was literally sitting on the toilet, insisting on not moving. And I'm like, can I use that?
Well, at least it's better than my sister Cat, who tried to use you as a plaything as you're trying to use the toilet.
Well, I was going to say it would be fine if he was actually going to use it for its intended purpose.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the glowy obelisk with the funky lighting.
I think as players, I don't think we decided which character would have this idea, but as players, we have decided that we're going to tie a rope around Mizram's middle, and such that it can resize, such that the loop can resize itself as he shapeshifts in case he gets knocked out of his cat form. And then Mizram the cat is going to go investigate the glowy magic spot.
Mizram the cat. Interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So that's a pretty well, it's not a highly complex knot, but it's not a simple one either. So
It's not a simple knot. I do this knot all the time for
well,
the crochet. It's super simple.
You somewhat don't think it justifies a sleight of hand check?
No. I do this knot constantly. It is super simple.
All right. I do miss the I do
like-
use the miss the rope use check in earlier editions, in which case that would be
Yeah.
a clear cut case. But yeah, we'll go with the fifth edition, keeping it a little bit easier. All right. So
Okay.
you tie the knot on there, goes around Miz. Rope's a bit heavy for Miz, in that form anyway. So go ahead and move yourself through the hall to wherever you want to go, Miz. Well,
Is that close enough to investigate?
what do you got? About another 15 feet before you're actually at the obelisk. And as I said, whatever is causing that glow is on the far side of the obelisk. You're not seeing it directly, you're just seeing the
Okay.
glow and the-
As I slowly pour across the ground, I am testing it with each step, just as I move forward, and keep an eye out for anything that could be unusual, like checking the wall, checking the floor, just make sure, and no traps, hopefully. Is it this side obelisk on, or the other side? Like the glowing object.
Hold on a second. Uh-oh, who did we lose? Jim. Jim dropped out.
Yes, he did say he was outside on the drive, so he might have lost signal.
I guess that happens. Where the heck is it?
I think he said something about taking a box knife to the drive. I have no idea why you want to do that, but hey up.
Box blade.
Ah, okay.
He's pulling the box blade behind his driveway to knock down the runoff and the melt from the snow.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I appreciate your confirmation, because as I was asking what he was doing, I walked away from my phone. It got all digitized. I didn't hear a thing he said.
Interesting. All right, that's going to be. Doesn't look like I can do what I was hoping I would.
So keep you a bit quiet there.
I said it doesn't look like I can do what I was hoping I could. So I'm just going to have to improvise, but that's fine. All right, so you're able to go that far at this point, and yeah, you can definitely see that the light is coming from just the other side of the obelisk, but you still can't make out what or why.
I will take one step closer to have a look.
So at this point, you're close enough that you can tell that those two objects on the other side are dead bodies, or at least what are meant to appear as dead bodies. But you still can't see what is causing the glow, or what is detected, what is being revealed by the detect magic?
I will slowly turn my head, look back at the other member, and slowly rise 2 paws up, slap it to the side of my cat face, and I do a shock cat expression, and then take another step forward.
Okay,
So how?
so you are now close enough to tell for sure that the glow is coming from something on the north facing surface of the obelisk, but you still can't see it.
Okay, I will take one enough steps so I can look at it, turn my face to look directly and see what the glow is.
All right, and with that,
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
no
I
problem.
accidentally disconnected and didn't even notice it. I was helping my wife get situated on my tractor and box blade. So
Hmm.
it's a nice day, so it's a working day here on this Saturday.
All right, let's see if I can do that. All right, so as Ms. steps past the line of the rear surface of the obelisk, he notices, whereas the rest of the obelisk, I mean, it's a black obelisk, but it's got texture and a little bit of depth to it, or I should say a little bit of definition to it. The back surface is sheer mirror black, almost like a portal to a void. And as Ms. steps forward,
Meow.
another cat that looks just like Ms. steps out of it.
Oh, fuck.
And with that, I'm going to ask you all to roll initiative.
Sweet.
And I'm not putting it in the combat tracker for the moment because I really do not want to go through the steps of duplicating Ms.
Come on now. There you go. Holy crow, a decent roll.
Ah, beautiful. You all get to go. All right. So with that in mind, that one, Kaylee, as usual, you are on the ball. Let me move the marker up here. So it's always a pain in the butt. There we go. All right. So as the cat steps out, not much, but you can just barely see something come out of the far side of it as it does so. So
Okay.
you don't have a clear view, but for your sharpshooting abilities, you still have enough. But keep in mind, it
Okay.
is very small and low profile, just like Mizram.
Yeah. Okay. All it has done so far is step out. So I'm going to hold my action